But before all of that, we was brought to our attention yesterday the article on the Athletic about the Cristiano Ronaldo signing at Manchester United, and I think most people were some wrinkles to it. But Phil Thompson having dinner with his agent, or what appeared to be his agent, at some point not long before he went to United, was not a wrinkle that I expected to crop up.
Yeah, listen, this has been quite old hat now. This was in my book about sort of 15 years ago. And cutting a long story short, Cristiano Ronaldo was being touted about to 4 or 5 of the Premier League clubs at the time. And it was one of those, it was a guy, well, everybody knows Paul Strefford, who's one of the big agents. He was part of the George Mendes camp. But it was a guy called Tony Henry who asked me to go to see Cristiano. And we all knew about him, but they were desperate. They were desperate. Even over the phone, they were saying, look, you can buy him for £4 million. It's that way. They were that sort of desperate to push him out. I don't know whether Sporting Lisbon actually wanted the cash. But I went to see him in Porto on a Sunday, and this was at the end of the season. Porto had just beaten Celtic for the UEFA Cup. And I went to see him, and Porto still won the game 2-0, beating Sporting Lisbon. But you could see Cristiano was a player without a doubt. So I went with Tony Henry, and he said it would be £4 million. And he's a good player. I said, I didn't see that. And I said, we talked about the salary. And he said it's £1 million a year. And I know. And he said net. And I went, I said, listen, I don't know about that. And he went, it's negotiable. They were desperate to get him off the hands. So I'm thinking, so I came back on the Monday morning. On the Tuesday morning, so this £4 million that he was pushing Cristiano for, I'm sitting in Melwood with Gerard Houllier, and we're watching Sky Sports News, and on the bottom yellow strap that goes across, which still goes across now, it says Manchester United signed Cristiano Ronaldo for £12.2 million. Well, I looked at it like that and went, what? And Gerard Houllier said, that's what you were saying it was for. I said, he did. I said, he said, get on the phone to him now. So rang Tony Henry straight away Tuesday. And I said, what the hell is... And he went, Phil, I know what you're going to say. I know. I said, after me and you got off the plane on Monday morning, I got a phone call and I got told you're off the deal. And how it jumped from 4 million to 4 point... So we, at that point, didn't even know what our budget was. We wasn't sure how it was all going to sort of pan out. So whether Manchester United reacted quickly or not, or whether £12.2 million, the jump in the money, whatever happened to that, your guess is as good as mine. And that's the way that took place.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And
it was fascinating, but you can see that it wasn't even Paul Strefford who I went over there with. It was one of the junior agents, who was Tony Henry, who was, I think, Manchester City, Bolton, Tranmere. Nice guy, really nice guy. Is that they didn't see it as the bigger importance, that one of the bigger guys went with me, and it was Tony.
Did you feel, or do you feel now, like with this move, that he was destined to go to United? Because I know he was, like, had he gone for a medical at Arsenal as well? There was something about that he would obviously a couple of clubs have belonged. Or do you feel that you missed out?
Well, you always feel like you missed out, but it just happened so quick. Maybe Manchester United moved extra quick, and maybe things were already in the pipeline. But it was. You could see Cristiano was a player. There was him on one wing. I remember going to see a game under 21s or something, and I think Quaresma. Remember Quaresma? He was on one wing. Cristiano was on the other. There was, if there was stats available now, there'd have been 5 million step-overs in the 90 minutes of football between the two of them. It was quite something to watch. But he was a player. Portugal had a fantastic youth team at the time. And you'd always think, what might have been? Well, Manchester United did it. But I would have thought the movement in whatever way that was, I think that had a major input on it, because it was 4 million. 4 million. You can pay it over £1 million over the 4 years of his contract. All these things were being thrown at us, and we knew other clubs were being touted for them.
How soon would Liverpool have won the league if Cristiano Ronaldo was a Liverpool player?
Oh, there was a good chance of it. He's one of those rare breeds that comes along in a while, like your Pelés, and he will be up there with that sort of player that you've seen him play. You've seen what he can. He's had this focus that he wanted to be the best player in the world, and not just it may come to him. He worked at it. He grabbed hands, and he learned a lot at Manchester United off some real tough, professionals, and I think that helped him. And yes, probably might have done with his goals, and his goals became more sort of relevant as the seasons went on. He got better, scoring them from different angles. What a player!
Do you think was all the other stuff that was going on, Phil? Do you think were Liverpool and Arsenal and Spurs and the host of other clubs who were being touted, were they just being used as bait to inflate that figure ultimately?
No, I don't. I never ever got that feeling, guys, that it was a fact from the words. What were getting said to me was that they were just desperate to try and get him out of Sporting Lisbon. They were desperate for money. The 4 million, as I said when they spoke about his salary, and I said, "Oh, I'm not sure about that." He went, "Oh, it's negotiable. It's negotiable." And I remember all these words coming back sort of quite easily in my mind. And it was that they were desperate to get him on his way. That's why I was totally shocked. Not just that it happened sort of quite quickly after us coming back on the Monday morning, but it was the fact that it jumped so high to get it done. And absolutely sort of 2-3 days before it, Tony was saying to me that it was £4 million over the 4 years, can be paid £1 million a year, which was not a lot. We didn't know our budget. Obviously, budgets weren't sort of massive back in the day, not just for Liverpool, but for everybody. And it was 12.2. You make your mind up what happened with that.
Did you have a chance when you were over, to meet him or his family, or was it just purely at agents level at that stage?
Well, we went over there, and George Mendes was there. As I say, Porto had just won the UEFA Cup, and I think half of their players were still drunk. They got their hair all painted blue for the game, and they still won the game 2-0. But I've seen George Mendes. It was in the same sort of area with George Mendes, and Tony was showing me around. We went for dinner in that night. That's when we had sort of a chat. But I never went with George Mendes. Never went with Paul Stretford. There was a bit of a debate later on, a few years later. I had a call from Tony Henry, and there was a possibility that things might have got ugly and gone to court, because they were saying George Mendes was saying that Paul Stretford agency didn't have anything to do with the deal. And I'm very sorry, but I said they did. It was in my book. If you need anything, I'm only telling you the truth exactly as it happened. And I said, there it is before you. I said, you can, and he said, oh, thanks very much. But obviously they were trying to oust Paul Stretford and his group out of the deal.